grandmother. Yesterday as well, a story that gripped public attention when it emerged some years ago. The CMU Ruel Reid Fritz Pinnock scandal. Well, yesterday the prosecution outlined in court the damning allegations against Reid, Pinnock, Reid's wife, daughter, and a Jamaica Labour Party councillor, Kim Brown Lawrence. It's on the front page of the Gleaner this morning. And the Gleaner's Tanisha Mundell writes that a domestic helper unknowingly employed by the Ministry of Education is among the key allegations in the $25 million fraud case involving former Education Minister Ruel Reid and former Caribbean Maritime University President Professor Fritz Pinnock. The prosecution outlined its case in the Kingston and St. Andrew Parish Court on Thursday, describing a complex alleged conspiracy to siphon public funds through fraudulent contracts, sham employment, and bogus invoices between 2016 and 2018. The lead prosecutor, Ashtel Steele, told the court that the helper, hired to work in the Reid household, had no idea she was on the ministry's payroll. The prosecution alleges that Reid, his wife Sharon, daughter Sharelle, arranged for her to be paid through the ministry. The family reportedly helped her open a bank account and retained control of her ATM card to access the funds. Steele said the Crown intends to present evidence that this was part of a broader scheme through which Reid, his family, Pinnock, and JLP councillor Kim Brown Lawrence conspired with others to defraud the Ministry of Education and the CMU. The Crown will seek to show how the accused, particularly Mr. Reid and Pinnock, used their roles as public servants to mastermind and effect the fraudulent activities for which they are before the court. Yeah. That is the Gleaner's reporting of it this morning. Yeah. And it is due to continue on Thursday. Yeah. On Thursday. On the matter of crime, there's a nugget of a story this morning on Nationwide. St. Elizabeth. Murders are at a 25-year low in the parish. The breadbasket parish of Jamaica, St. Elizabeth. Up to Thursday, October 9, 12 murders were recorded in the parish. That's a 56% reduction over the 27 recorded in the corresponding period last year. Of the 12 murders committed so far this year in Senti, 7 or 59% stemmed from interpersonal conflicts. Yeah. According to the Divisional Commander for St. Elizabeth, Superintendent Coleridge Minto, the last 3 homicides in the parish were all the result of personal disputes. Yeah. So, Senti, murders down significantly. It's almost time for the break. After the break, that video, that is the buzz, the video that some people are castigating the force for, whether a policeman was planting incriminating material or not. Yeah? After the break. About whether it was a plant or not, whether it was a simple case of a magazine falling from the vest of a policeman involved in a stop and search moment. And frankly, as of this moment, we don't know. Yes? We heard one side of the story from Senior Superintendent Dennis Brooks yesterday. And then what we saw in that video. But there are questions about the authenticity of the video and whether it faithfully captured what happened. SSP Brooks says it was edited, it was altered. Some members of the public who have been seeing it and watching it and theorizing is that no, it was a plant. And you know, central to this, is a matter of trust. It's a matter of trust. Because Jamaicans have been so burnt, so unjustly incriminated, some go to prison because of some of the worst actions of members of the Jamaica Constabulary Force over the years. I am one of those who is of the view that the force is getting better. It is a better force today than it was when I was growing up in the 70s and the 80s and the 90s. It's a better force. Yeah? But there is always the struggle. You would like to give the force the benefit of the doubt. But then what? You're flushed with the reality that you can't trust them. You can't trust them. And if you give them the benefit of the doubt, you have to remain vigilant. Vigilant. Because they have had a practice of abusing their power and authority. And I think this reality of our experiences with the force is heavily in play on this matter. We now know from SSP Brooks that the incident took place in Naggerhead in South St. Catherine. Yesterday was Monday, on Sunday. Yeah? At one point in the video, a policeman is clearly seen retrieving what we are told is a magazine. Yes? And the occupants are saying that, listen, it wasn't there before, and the suggestion is that the policeman had planted it. Well, let us hear first the report from Kalisa Wright outlining, what sparked all of this.
One of the JCF members was seen leaning over on the back seat of the vehicle, appearing to search it before stepping away from the car. The policeman then proceeded to ask one of the occupants for his driver's license, which was presented and checked. It's at this point that another occupant called attention to what appeared to be a magazine that was left on the back seat under a black bag. The video further went on to show one policeman taking up what appeared to be a magazine and placing it in his pocket before walking off. This was followed by another occupant of the motor vehicle expressing concern about re-entering the car. Meanwhile, social media users are raising concerns about the conduct of the police. One user on Instagram said, "These officers need to be arrested immediately. Me support the police 100%, but me can't support Unupanda Wania that move ya low." And another social media user on Instagram expressed disappointment, saying that if anyone within the JCF commit any crime, they must be held in the highest and full extent of the law. The user went on to say, "No leniency for them because they have taken the oath to serve and protect against crime." Nationwide has contacted the JCF for a comment on the matter. However, they declined. Khaleesi Wright for Nationwide News.
Thank you, Kalisa. Well, they did respond. By the time we got to the cover story yesterday afternoon, and that response came from Senior Superintendent Dennis Brooks. Yes? And he flatly rejected the suggestion that, listen, what the policeman was doing was not to plant the magazine, which would be incriminating on the occupants of the vehicle. SSP Crook says no. According to him, based on their checks and what he has been advised, they believe the magazine accidentally fell from the policeman as he carried out the search. Yeah? Here's that side of the story from Ruby and Williams.
The incident reportedly occurred on Sunday, October 12, near Nago Head in the St. Catherine South Police Division. In the video circulating on social media, a man is seen recording the police as they search a car. At one point, a policeman retrieves a magazine that the vehicle's occupants claim was not there before. According to SSP Dennis Brooks, the patrol team had observed a vehicle speeding toward a gas station with shirtless men inside and approached the car out of due diligence. The men reportedly told the police they were returning from playing football. He says the policemen requested to search the vehicle and the men agreed. The group also asked to record the interaction, which was permitted. SSP Brooks adds that it would have been extremely foolhardy for any lawman to attempt to plant a government-issued magazine that had been officially signed out.
The information that I have is that the officer's rifle was handed to his colleague and he began to search the vehicle. However, there was one magazine that he had lodged in his ballistic vest, and he searched the front and the rear of the vehicle, and while exiting the vehicle, the magazine was dislodged and left on the seat. It was brought to his attention by the young men, to their credit, and they were actually commended for bringing it to his attention, and he retrieved his magazine.
SSP Brooks notes that the video making the rounds on social media was evidently edited.
Watching the video, it is clear that you're not watching the sequence in chronological order. You're watching the end of the video and then the beginning of the video. You're watching the end of the process, and you see when the vehicle drives away. And then you see a clear jump cut, and then you're seeing the prior to what you just saw before. And so the moment you start watching the video, you know the video is edited.
SSP Brooks was speaking during Nationwide at 5 on Monday. Robian Williams for Nationwide News.
So there you have it. Two sides of the story. Yeah. We also spoke with an attorney at law. In fact, two attorneys at law yesterday. John Clark and Bert Samuels. Samuels said the policemen searching the vehicle for contraband or whatever should have avoided entering the vehicle with items that could accidentally fall from their possession.
For the protection of the police officer who is searching, other officers are to stand back with their arms ready to protect him, but he should enter the vehicle without any arms himself, so that there's transparency that he took nothing into the vehicle while searching it. So it seems to me there was a breach of protocol, and the police should be checked on this, whether a police officer should enter your car where there are more than one police officers with anything in his hand or anything that can be left there. He should actually show his clean hands to the citizen, then enter, and the citizen is looking at the search while he has the protection of armed officers so that nothing can, become of him. But
Yes.
I think there was a breach for anyone to have entered that car with any magazine.
Bert Samuels, attorney at law. Well, I think we should learn from this, if you didn't know this before. And that is, when the police stop you and ask to search your vehicle, you should be very careful to observe whether they have on them, in their hands, or visible to you, anything that could be released or placed in your vehicle. We learned from that interview yesterday that that is the standard operating procedure. Yeah? The police, before entering your vehicle, should make it clear to you that, or you should be able to see that, listen, they don't have anything on them. And you should be very vigilant, including, as you'll hear from John Clark, from JFJ, that you should record your interactions with the police to protect you and to protect them.
In many cases, there are citizens who are genuinely afraid of the police. A teachable moment that we must get from this, and I hope the JCF examines that, is the extent to which we can speed up the process of ensuring all officers are mandated to wear body-worn cameras, and that citizens, it's made clear to those officers that citizens should be encouraged to video the encounter for their own protection and for the protection of the JCF and its good name, because that particular footage perhaps can be shared with the High Command, and if there are persons who need to be weeded out to protect the public, then hopefully High Command will take that action to ensure that only the persons who remain in the JC are those who deserve to wear the uniform.
John Clark, an attorney at law and spokesman for Jamaicans for Justice. Yeah? I'm sure the debate is going to continue. Yeah? I see in our YouTube chat. Yeah? The debate continues, especially the interview that we did with SSP Brooks yesterday that got very, very testy yesterday afternoon. Yes? Time for the break.